Hello, welcome to Roussel Reads. I'm Deja, and today I'm excited to bring you some of my anticipated releases for the second half of 2025. We actually have a lot of books to go through because as I was building my list, I realized that the second half of the year is going to be a really big one for a lot of science fiction, fantasy, and of course, a few other genres mixed in. But I'm very much excited for a lot of the science fiction and fantasy coming out by Black authors in the second half of the year. So, majority of this list does focus on that because I think I have around 25 books to go through. We're just going to go ahead and get into this video. And we are going to start with The Reaper by Jackson P. Brown. This one has been getting a lot of buzz online, and I'm very happy to see that. This is an urban fantasy focused on a lore surrounding the Grim Reapers, but it's in London and it's like a underground supernatural world in London. And I caught an interview, which I'll link down below, with this author, and she really did take a lot of the things that she sees in London and like incorporates it into this world that she has. I've been really loving the representation I've been getting with showing British authors. There is the show Supercell, which I really enjoyed. I'm excited to see another supernatural London based world, and I'm just really excited to see how this one goes. Next, we have The Memory of the Ogisi, which is the conclusion to the Forever Desert trilogy. I absolutely love the first two books, and I won't go too much into depth about what this one is about because even though they kind of read like standalone and like fables, like I feel like the way that the last one left off, this one is probably going to connect a little bit more to what happens in the second book. But if you have not picked up the series, highly recommend, especially if you are trying to get into adult fantasy. I would say that trying a novella like this with beautiful writing and it is told like you are being told a story, I would say check out this one. The next one I have is actually a thriller called Love You to Death. And when I read the description of this one, I was just like, what is going on? At first, I thought that this was going to take me up because one of the first lines of the summary is that like they are attending an antebellum themed wedding. Two black women were attending this, and I was just like, what? But the thing is that they crash these weddings and like steal things, and so they are on the run from authorities, and it's a story focused on a friendship while they are on the run, I guess. And I'm just like, you know what, sign me up. Like, this just sounds like a good time. I'm looking for more thriller authors, and I feel like this one is definitely probably going to give me just those thrilling vibes with probably the strong characters that I love to have in a thriller. So I am excited to try this one out. I've never tried out anything by this author. I don't know if this is their debut, but I'm ready for a good time, a wild time, and yeah. The next book that we have is Blood Slaves by Markus Redmond. And I guess I should say I'll have all the release dates on the screen because I cannot remember when all these books are releasing. Blood Slaves is another Antebellum South book, but it features vampires in it. I actually have an arc of this one, and all I will say is that don't go into this for the vampire lore and probably adjust your expectations to be more like a Django Unchained rather than, I don't know, some other movie. I think that the reviewer who said that, I'll put them on the screen. I think that they said it best when this book is really reading like Django Unchained instead of what I expected. So, yeah, that's all I would say about this book. The next one that I have is another high fantasy called Birth of a Dynasty. I think that this is this author's debut fantasy. I also have an arc of this one, but I have not started it. but this one is promising me basically a lot of family drama in the midst of a high fantasy world. It also seems to promise a lot of vengeance, which I've definitely been more in the mood for these last few months. So, very excited about this. I'm very much hoping that this delivers on the vengeance, court politics, and family drama, but we will see. The next one that I have is more of a literary fiction kind of romance, and this is This Kind of Trouble by Tochi Eze. I believe this one seems to be more of a heartbreaking story following a forbidden love in Lagos, Nigeria, and it seems like it's going to be more of kind of a marriage in trouble type of thing where the couple has to deal with the things that splintered them in the first place. And I'm ready. I'm ready to be in my feelings. And I feel like the writing is going to be beautiful. Just something about it, maybe just the way that the summary is written, is just telling me that this is just going to be a beautiful, heartbreaking story. And I'm ready to cry my eyes out. The next one is also more of a contemporary fiction, literary fiction, I believe. And this one is Once Upon a Time in Dollywood. This one also is just giving me very emotional vibes. The main character, can't remember her name, but it seems like she's going through a lot. I think she has like a custody battle, just a lot of emotional things happening for her. And I think that we're basically just following her life trying to become better. I don't think that this is a romance, but I don't know. Usually in these kinds of story, like a romance is on the side, but I'm also very excited for this one. So this next one is a science fiction by Andrea Hairston. This is an author I have not tried yet, but I know that their writing can be very dense, and so I'm hesitantly excited for this one, but when I read the description of this, I'm just like, I kind of want this. And because the summary is so short, I kind of just want to read it to you. So I'm going to look down at my screen and just tell you what this is about. The world has been divided by the barrier. For 115 years, this extraterrestrial epidimensional entity has divided the earth into warring zones. Power hungry politicians, gangsters, and spiritual fundamentalists are determined to thwart a potential treaty to end the internal wars. When the treaty's architect is assassinated, her protege, Eleni, a talented renegade and one of the few able to negotiate the barrier, is forced to take up her mantle. Now Eleni and a motley crew of allies risk their lives to make the treaty work. Can they repair their fractured world before the barrier devours them completely? Lately, I've been in the mood for more dystopian things, and I feel like just with the level of complexity that I think that Andrea Harrison writes their stories, I think that this could be a very interesting read. The next one is an indie author that I'm hesitantly anticipating, but I did want to bring awareness to, and this one is called The Astrian Trials. Now, if you know me, I don't really like anything with trials, and I've been very much in a romantasy kind of slump. So, what about this one makes me want to read it? Regardless of me being in a romantically slump and not really being into trials, the synopsis of this one does give me the vibes that it's going to have two fully developed characters. At least they should be on principle. And that's one of the biggest complaints that I have about romantasy. So I am going to try this one, but we will see how it goes. The next one is another romance, and this one is A Promise of Forever. This one is a marriage in trouble, which I'm thinking is it a trope or maybe just the kind of story that I'm starting to like vibe towards? I think it's just because I like those like angsty vibes in my romances. So when you have a marriage that's in trouble and you have to like come back to each other, I think that just automatically brings the angst. But anyway, this story is a marriage in trouble, and I don't think anything like bad happened. I think that they just kind of like grew apart. So now basically they are trying to find the love that they had for each other early in their marriage. So I'm excited for this one. We will see how it goes. The next one that I have is War of the Lambs by Jamison Shea, and I'll be honest, I have no idea what this is about. I know that it's a thriller. I'm thinking that it's a standalone, but honestly, because Jamison and Shea wrote it, I kind of want to pick it up because I love their writing. So I'm just hoping I get the same beautiful writing that I got from the Beast, I Feed Her to the Beast. I never read the second one, but I'm just very much excited to read more of the prose of this author because just really love the way that they write. The next one that I have is another literary fiction. This one is called We Were Not Kings. This one seems like it's going to be a coming of age, hard hitting, emotional book for me. I think it's going to deal with like a lot of heavy themes, probably. I think that is just going to be dealing with a lot of like familial trauma and probably even like racial and colonial trauma because I think that this also has a lot of Caribbean influence in it as well. So yeah, I'm interested to see like what I think of this one. The next one that I have is another romance, and this is called August Lane by Regina Black. This one I'm also anticipating because it follows two country singers. And I know that black people have always been in country, but I feel like it's been making more of a prominent stage in our music lately because of probably Cowboy Carter or whatever, but I am excited for this one because it actually follows two country artists. I think that they have a history with each other, not a good history with each other, but I don't think it's necessarily second chance. But I've never tried anything by this author, so I'm curious to see like what I think of it. It does sound like it's going to be more of a emotional read, so very excited for that. This next one is for the Romantasy fans that want to have more diversity in it. And this one is May Chaos Reign Over You. And in this one, I feel like it follows kind of like a witchy character that gives out these golden apples that incite chaos, and a dragon falling in love when one of the people in the dragon's coven is given one of these chaos apples, and I think the story goes from there. This one I am intrigued about partly because it is a sapphic relationship, and I don't see that a lot in romantasy, and definitely don't see two black love interests in a lot of romantasy books. So very excited for that, but I'm also just very intrigued with like this whole idea of chaos, and I'm intrigued with like a witch and a dragon falling in love. So the next one is Candace, the Universe and Everything, and this one seems like it's going to be a middle grade science fiction book, which I don't actually think I've ever read one. But this is actually by an author that I used to read when I was probably in the young adult age. I can't even tell you exactly when, but they had a book called Orleans that I read and enjoyed back then. And yeah, I am just really excited to see that they are publishing something else. I feel like I couldn't really get into this one specifically because even though it's dealing with things like quantum physics and stuff like that, like being in a middle grade setting, I feel like I could probably understand it. And I am trying to get more into science fiction. So I'm very curious to see what I think about this one, especially since I did love the author back in the day. The next one that I have is another science fiction, but this one is adult, and this one is The King Must Die by Kemi Ashing-Giwa. I've read, I think, almost everything that they put out at this point in terms of like novellas and novels, I think. But while those books didn't necessarily work for me for one reason or another, I'm very intrigued with this one. This one is a science fiction adventure following a girl as she is trying to save the empire. It takes place on another planet. It has aliens and stuff like that, but it seems like it's going to be like more normalized, which I'm very excited about. I'm just really happy to see this author diving into the science fiction space because I don't think that there's actually a lot of black authors writing science fiction. So even if all of their books don't work for me completely, I think that I'm still going to have a good time reading this fast paced science fiction novel. The next one is by a middle grade author that is actually debuting with their first adult work, and this one is Psychopomp and Circumstance by Eden Royce. This cover looks very creepy, but I'm very excited to read this one. It's just a novella and it's basically a Southern Gothic story, which I'm actually really happy to see that we're getting a lot more Southern Gothic books. This one basically follows a free black family during the time of Reconstruction in America, and it's surrounding this funeral. So I just feel like something creepy is going to happen, and while I don't like being scared for fun, I definitely want to check this out. The next one is Firstborn of the Sun, and this is another author that I have tried before that I was not amazed with the book that I read, but this one has all of my buzzwords in it. It has gods, and while it is a Nigerian inspired world, I believe, I feel like it's going to be more in depth and more in the way that I like how C. Davies Okunbawa does it, where it feels like it's actually like part of the culture. Like it's not just like a few things here and there where it's just like, oh, this is Nigerian inspired and we're eating egusi soup and stuff, but it doesn't feel like it's actually Nigerian. But this one, it feels like it's going to give me those authentic vibes. I'm excited for this. I'm really hoping that it delivers. I'm really hoping so. This next one is another urban fantasy paranormal book that I've really been craving these last few days. Not necessarily like the cozy ones, but more of the ones that have stakes. And this one seems like it's going to give me that. And that is An Unlikely Coven. But this one does seem like it's going to have those like stakes that I want, where it's just going to have like a supernatural power that is probably being like threatened, or just some like darker elements. I think, of course, I think it's probably still gonna have like those lighter elements, but I'm just very excited to get into my paranormal vibe, and I'm really hoping that this one delivers. And I'm really loving that it's actually an adult urban fantasy paranormal book. So definitely one to keep on your radar in the fall. The next one is also by an author that I have read before, and this one is As Long as You're Mine. I read the author's, was it their debut? I think The Dead Girls, I think that's what it's called. I read that one. I did enjoy that one. Didn't necessarily enjoy the second book in that series, but I really did like the cultural historical aspects of that series, and this one is giving me the same kind of deal where we're dealing with old Black Hollywood and there is a mystery in the midst of that. So, very excited to see what the author does with this one. I don't think that this is going to be a series, so yeah, I'm really hoping that I enjoy this one. The next one is another contemporary romance, and this one is The Marriage Narrative by Claire Kann. I have read The Romantic Agenda by this author, which I really enjoyed, and I'm feeling like I'm really going to enjoy this one. This one seems like it's going to be more of like a fake marriage situation. Like they are definitely most likely just going to get married for the sake of it and then probably fall in love along the way, as romance novels do. So, I'm very curious about this one. This author does write a sexual representation in their books, so I will say that if you're looking for that, maybe check this one out. So, yeah, we'll see how this one goes as well. The next one that I have is more of like a horror. I want to say it's gothic horror, but maybe not. But this one is I'll Make a Spectacle of You, and this one is taking place at a fictional HBCU, I believe. And I believe that there's some kind of beast surrounding these woods, and there's like a lot of secrets and stuff happening. And I'm ready. I'm not ready to be scared, but I'm really ready for this one. I'm really hoping that it delivers those like creepy, maybe even like thriller vibes that I'm feeling like I'm getting from this. So yeah, there is that one to keep your eye on. We are almost done. Almost done. The next book that we have is another mystery thriller that also follows a friendship, like the first book I think I mentioned. This one is basically following a woman that has been friends with this woman for years, but then I guess she disappears, and then she's finding out that her friend is basically not who she thought she was. So I'm very just intrigued when it comes to like relationship dynamic things, whether or not it's like the relationship between a couple or a relationship between two friends or even like a brother and sister. Like I really enjoy those character dynamics, so that's why this one is really calling to me, but I'm really hoping that the mystery thriller captures my attention as well. And then we have Heart of Ruin by AC Arthur. This one is a dark academia kind of fantasy fantasy. And while I'm not the biggest fan of dark academia most times, I'm still willing to try this one out because we don't get a lot of Black authors writing dark academia. So still willing to try this out. Of course, with dark academia, you're going to get a lot of like secrets, probably secret societies, and just like darker elements. So I'm curious to see. This is going to be the first in a duology. So yeah, we'll see. And then just to end off, we have a few honorable mentions that don't have release dates, and I don't even think one was like really announced. But I'm not going to give too much detail about the one that wasn't really announced because I'm not sure what the author's plan of that one is. But I did want to put it in this video because I am extremely excited for it, and I feel like it's going to be coming out soon. So yes. The first one that I have is another romantasy called A Healer's Touch by Samantha Devereaux. I believe this is going to be coming out in the fall, but I'm not exactly sure. Full disclosure, I have talked to the author before, just behind the scenes, and I think we're more like acquaintances. So that's partly the reason why I am anticipating this. It seems like this is going to be not a bodyguard romance, but he basically captures her because she has this thing called the Reaper's Eye that is basically outlawed in their land. And of course, as they are traveling, they fall in love together. So very intrigued with this one. I hope that it doesn't fall into the same traps that I have with a lot of romantic books. And I know the author said that they are trying not to do that. So yeah, we will see with this one. And the next one that hasn't been announced, but that I'm super intrigued with and that I really want to pre-order as soon as it gets done. And I saw sneak peeks of the cover and everything. Tamara Jure is going to be releasing a book in the fall, and I am so excited. Like, I just love this author's writing. Like, oh my gosh, the way that this author writes a book, I love it so much. And the way that the author is describing this one, I don't even want to say too much because oh my gosh, but like basically she has like this evil queen character that is almost like Maleficent coded, which immediately I'm hooked. So man, I'm so excited and I just love the way that the cover is looking so far, which I'm not going to share because it's not for me to share, but like if you really want to know, get on their newsletter. Like get on their newsletter. I don't know if they're going to share anymore anytime soon, but like get on their newsletter because I'm very excited for this one. But that wraps up the books that I'm anticipating for the last half of the year. I know there are a lot more books coming out, so if I missed any that you are anticipating, please let me know because I'm always looking for more to add to the TBR. But if you don't have any books that you are anticipating or you don't want to leave a comment like that, you can always just leave whatever emoji I'm going to put on the screen just to let me know that you are here. But again, I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!